everybody, Erica here with Fibersandfloss Canada. I'm bringing episode number 10 to you today. I want to thank everybody who is a returning viewer and taking the time to watch previous episodes and comment, and I hope you find them inspiring and joyful. Hopefully you'll learn a little something, and if you're a new viewer as well, welcome. I hope that you enjoy this and learn a little something today as well, and hopefully I don't enable you too much to buy all the things. We do love to stitch all the things here. I wanted to start off today with letting you know what I have. So I'm going to go over a new SAL that Samantha the Huga Stitcher and I are hosting. I have a finish, I have an old finish I want to share with you. I also have a new start and 4 whips as well. Yes, I think that's it. So I thought I'd just dive right on in. First I want to talk about our new SAL that Samantha and I are doing. So the idea originated with Samantha the Huga Stitcher. If you watch my episode number 10, I talk a little bit more about how the idea came about. The hashtag we're going to be using is hashtag yearofthedragonsal. I'll put it up here for you guys. So the idea behind this is that this year it is the Chinese Year of the Dragon, and that starts on the 10th of February 2024. And so our idea is to have people get together and stitch a dragon of some sort. Any pattern you have that has a dragon in it would be an awesome pattern to choose. This year, you know, looking at, there's so many different patterns to choose from. I do have a couple patterns. I'm going back and forth between the two. I'll insert some pictures so you guys can see. The first one's a Teresa Wentzler. It's the Storyteller, and you can see there's a great big dragon here and a little person listening and a castle in the background. And so while I'm thinking, initially I thought that's a pattern I'm going to stitch. You know, the biggest problem for me is I've also just started the Peacock Tapestry by Teresa Wentzler, and I find the two are very similar. So the borders are very similar. They're both you know, have a focal piece in the foreground, and it has a full background as well. When you put the two patterns side by side, maybe I'll do that on the screen for you here, I do think that they're very similar, and I wonder if I would struggle with completing the Storyteller just because it's so similar to the Peacock, and I feel more passionate about the Peacock. So instead I have also ordered another option. This is called Celestial Dragon, and it's by Teresa Wentzler as well. This one I think I'm leaning towards doing. I'll insert a picture here of when somebody else stitched and has shared online, and the background fabric is bright red, and I think that I'm gonna go ahead and order that red fabric, and at this time I'm leaning towards this stitch for Year of the Dragon. So yeah, if you have thoughts and if you've stitched either of them and you think I should lean towards one over the other, just maybe comment below and let me know your thoughts there. Maybe I'll still change my mind, I'm not sure. It's really cool to see some people are starting to post on Instagram which patterns they're kitting up and what ones they plan on stitching. So if you have a dragon in your stash and you want to stitch that, please join us. It'd be really cool to see what people come up with this year. At the end as well of this video, I'll insert some pictures of dragon cross stitches that are out there. So if you're interested in joining and you don't want to watch the whole video, feel free to scooch it to the end and see some options that are currently out there. For Year of the Dragon though, I wanted to talk a little bit about what is the dragon in the Chinese zodiac. So we know here that there is a Chinese zodiac, and then there's also the Western zodiac, and between the two, the Western zodiac is derived from like constellations. You know, it's based on your birth month, sorry, and you're represented by a symbol or an animal, whereas in the Chinese zodiac, it has nothing to do with the stars, and you are represented by one of 12 animals, and it's actually based on the year. So that means in the Chinese zodiac, it repeats every 12 years. So this year is Year of the Dragon, and in 2036 will be Year of the Dragon as well again. So when you take the Chinese zodiac and the Western zodiac, we get Western astrology and also our horoscopes that we look at. And horoscopes, you know, they predict our behavior and our future and relationships and that sort of thing. So the dragons, though, they're a mythical creature that's always been tied to Chinese folklore, and there's a lot of really neat stories involving them. I just realized I was going to read you a little Chinese folklore story, but it's on my phone and I'm filming on that. So I'll pause and I'll grab that shortly. So I wanted to let you know, for birth years for the dragon, if you were born in, and excuse me because I have to read from a list, in 1952, 1964, 1976, or 1988, 2000 or 2012, you were born in Year of the Dragon. And I wrote down some interesting information. So people that are born in Year of the Dragon, they're commonly known to be self-assured leaders, and they have charismatic or dominant personalities. That they're blessed with intelligence and tenacity, and they love challenges, and they will spend many, many hours, you know, rising to a challenge just to overcome it and you know, be able to say that they actually completed a challenge. And the bigger the challenge, the better. But they're also short-tempered, and they don't accept criticism well. I have a son that was born in Year of the Dragon, and I think that can be a little bit fitting. Some famous people born in Year of the Dragon are Martin Luther King Jr., Salvador Dali, the artist, can't speak today, John Lennon as well, and some of the most richest men in China, actually, some of the billionaires were born in Year of the Dragon too. And the richest man in China, Li Ka-shing, was Year of the Dragon also. So I'm going to pause for a second, and I'm just going to go grab my iPad to read off of. I'll be right back. So I have my iPad, and I wanted to read you a little something. So although we know that dragons are mythical creatures in Chinese folklore, they do hold a very special seat in traditional Chinese folklore. There is a tale about Jade Emperor and the 4 dragons, and it will only take a second. I thought I'd read it to you. I thought it was really interesting. It says, for most of the famous Chinese myths involving dragons tells of devastating drought that was ravaging China. The 4 mighty dragons of the sea saw this calamity unfolding. They took pity on the human race, which would soon perish if the rain did not fall. The 4 dragons took it upon themselves to travel to the highest heaven and petition the Jade Emperor, ruler of heaven and earth, to send rain. After they were given an audience and had made their case to the Jade Emperor, he absentmindedly agreed to send rain. However, being understandably preoccupied with running the affairs of heaven and earth, the Jade Emperor promptly forgot his promise to send the rain. 10 days had passed without action. Blades of grass turned to bristles, and soil cracked and blistered in the relentless sun and heat. People began to die. Seeing this tragedy, the 4 dragons took it upon themselves to remedy the situation. They gathered up fresh water and released it into the land, finally bringing an end to the apocalyptic drought. When the Jade Emperor learned that they had acted without his permission, he was enraged and ordered them to be imprisoned for eternity, weighed down by the mountain god himself. From their mountain prisons sprouted 4 rivers of China: the Yellow River, the Yangtze, the Pearl River, and the Amur River. China would never be without water again. So I thought it was really neat just to have that little bit of folklore there. And, you know, when we start celebrating the Chinese New Year on the 10th of February, Samantha and I will be starting a new cross stitch. So if you want to join us, we'll be using Year of the hashtags, Year of the Dragonsal. And it'd be really awesome if you would take part in that and try stitching something you already have. If you need to buy something, that's even more fun, right? Choosing something new. So moving on, I do have my book of days that I wanted to share with you guys as well. This is something that I'm just recording what I have been working on and the hours. Earlier this week, I actually did start recording the number of stitches I was putting into things, and I did that for 2 days, and then that was that. I don't know, it's complicated because I don't use some of the online programs that offer you know, the stitch counting, and so I actually was counting my stitches, and I'm fine doing that when I'm home by myself, but if there's other things going on, it's a bit of an issue. I can't focus to do that. So here's my January book of days, just decorated with stickers from my sticker book. I can't remember what it's called, the one everybody has. I've got all my whips at the side here, and for February, I want to decorate with stickers with dragons on them for Year of the Dragon. So if you know of any sticker books that have great dragon stickers, or any that you've seen for sale anywhere, just let me know. I'd love to get some stickers for that. So moving on to cross stitch. It's been about 10 days since my last Flosstube, and I figured by the time I was recording this, I'd be done my Treasure Island by Owl Forest Embroidery, and I'm super close. I actually stopped stitching because I want your guys' input, so I'll insert 2 photos here. The photo again on the left is where I was when I left off last time with you guys, and the photo on the right is where I am today, and you can see that I have stitched the very last piece, and the only thing that is left there is the gold detailing. So I'll zoom out to the big piece here. It's so close to being done. At the very bottom there, all those empty spaces are actually meant to be stitched in yellow for the gold, for the coins, and for the, you know, there's a big glass at the side, and glass wouldn't be the right term, but big cup, you know, and then there's some gold bars and stuff like that, but there's also some rubies and some pearls and some emeralds. And so I'm wondering, should I stitch that in the variegated floss from Owl Forest Embroidery, or do I do dress it up a little bit? Should I do, you know, gold cord or gold blending filament for the gold? Should I do a mixture of both? Should I do little beads and, you know, little beads for the emerald, for the emeralds, the rubies, and the pearls? So just curious to know what you guys would think, what I should do there. I was able to put my initials in the bottom. I had forgot to stick that in on the blue, so at least I got that in there. And then once I have your guys' input, I'll stitch up the bottom and it'll be done. And I'll be able to add that to my collection of Owl Forest Embroidery classic story SALs. So I've really enjoyed that. That's been a very fun stitch. And then so next week, when I show this, however I've chose to finish it at the end, I'm actually going to do a giveaway as well. I do have a project bag that I had sewn for Treasure Island, and I'll be done with that. So if somebody else is wanting to enter a giveaway for that Treasure Island bag, they can. That would be awesome. You know, I have to say too, I was watching Brenda and Laura, Brenda and the Cereal Starter, and it's been about a month since, a month and a half since I've done a video, and it was awesome. It makes me want to start all the things. So now that I'm, you know, Treasure Island's coming to an end, I'm looking at them, and I was looking at some of the haul they shared was amazing. This was episode 107, and it makes me want to buy a sampler so badly, and so I think I'll probably order one to start for this either this winter or this spring. I watched their Flosstube, and I think, you know, they're a lot like Samantha and I, and what we'll be like when we're at that age, and hopefully we could film a regular Flosstube together would be great. I find them so funny, and yeah, I definitely want to stitch all the things they share. So anyways, I'll definitely be looking for a sampler. So if you guys have any input, any suggestions on samplers that are I love bright colors, so more on the brighter side, leave them in the comment box there, and hopefully I can settle on one. Now I'll put a picture as well for my new start. So I do want to make a Biscornu, and I have started this one here. It's called 8 Biscornu Designs by Modern Folk Embroidery. And so this, I don't have the hard copy, I just have the PDF. And so I have chose to start the last design of the book, number 8. And this is it here so far. I am stitching this on, I'm just realized I didn't talk about the Owl Forest, what I'm stitching on, but it's just the called for kit with the floss and the fabric, all from Owl Forest Embroidery. And then back to this one here. So this one I am stitching with DMC, and it is a variegated floss 115, and it's a really nice color. And then the linen I'm using is just a gray linen I picked up from Hobby Lobby. It's a Wichelt linen, but it doesn't specify which color. And right there you can see, oh my lighting, I got a big shadow where I'm at so far. So it's about 25% done, and whether you make this the top or the bottom. I'm wondering if I should do the same pattern for the top or the bottom. I'm thinking not. I'm thinking probably we'll do different ones. But it's fun to see it come together and see some of the colors of the floss blend there as well. I was actually inspired to stitch this because I've been watching Carmen from Cardamom Pins, and she's new to Flosstube in the last couple of years, but she stitches a lot of modern folk embroidery, and she has a couple of Biscornu she's done. And I just think they're really fun. I do sew and quilt and stuff as well, so to have one of those just for my pins I think would be really cute. She has a lot of really neat stuff actually, and she has been wanting to stitch a sampler, and or maybe even just one of these because it's small, it's an easy pattern, but I want to learn to do the hem stitch, and she has some really great projects she has done. So if you're curious about a hem stitch and how to do it, she's not doing a tutorial on that, but she shared another tutorial which is really great. So go check her out. She definitely has some good inspiring stuff and a lot of modern folk embroidery and samplers at this time, and I think she's learning to do some knitting too. So the next one I wanted to share was my Royal Games by Mirabilia. This is Royal Games 1. I will insert two pictures here. The one on the left is where I was last time I left you, and the one on the right is where I'm at today. So you can see that I have been working on her head, sort of the back half of the dress, and then the crown and flowers in her hair. And I'll zoom out, and here's the actual piece. So it's really coming together. Everything for the top half for the Queen of Hearts is actually done other than the beading. So that's my next, no, it's not my next, sorry. My next one I'll be stitching is my Blue Lady here. And I will start her probably this week, and then once all that is done, there is a black border that goes all the way around here. So I'll put it in a frame. I've been stitching this in hand. I'll pop it in a frame to do a nice back stitch all the way around. I think it goes around twice to illustrate like a playing card, and then I'll do the beading after that. But it's been a really fun stitch, and the braid that's used in her crown is beautiful. It's, I don't know if you can see my lighting is actually really not good today. It's a gold, but it's almost like a bronzy gold. It's pretty nice actually. It's a beautiful color. And there's just a ton of jewels in her necklace and the bodice of the dress as well. So that will look really pretty once I get all those sewn in there. I did have a viewer reach out asking for information on how to do some beading, and so I probably will do a tutorial on that. There's a couple different ways to bead, and I use a few different methods depending if I really want to illustrate any sort of flow in the motion of the beads, or if I just want them to just lay nice and flat. So I think I'll probably do a tutorial on that in the next week or so. The next one that I have to share with you is my, losing all my papers, my Peacock Tapestry by Teresa Wentzler. I'm not doing very good today, am I? This is stitched on optic white. It's a 32 count, and it's using the called for DMC and the called for Kreiniken beads and stuff, of course. And blending filament will be in there too. My brain's only half here today, I suppose. Anyway, so Teresa Wentzler, Peacock Tapestry. This is my New Year, New Start, and it's being stitched on a 20, I think it's a 25 count. It's quite large. I go from this to my 40 count and I can't see anything, I tell you. The 40 count's definitely hard. 25 count mushroom lugana from Zweigart. So this is a really fun pattern as well. I've just started it, and true to, Teresa Wentzler, there is a ton of backstitch and details, and it's definitely a piece where you have to take your time and really enjoy kind of painting with thread because it's large. Oh, I got this over. Here it comes. So here's the piece. Actually, you know what? 2 pictures. Here you go. Sorry. On the left is where I was at when I left you last time, and on the right is where I'm at today. And I'll zoom into the piece here and you can see where I've been working. So her suggestion with Teresa Wentzler's is to do the entire exterior border, just the outline to ensure your fabric's the right size. And I'm pretty confident mine is, so I have not done all of that. Also, you know, it's recommended that the confetti stitching on the inside can become a bit exhaustive. So if you are getting tired of the confetti, to pop up and do the border, which is some much easier, enjoyable stitching. They're both enjoyable, but you know, sometimes you're just not in the mood for confetti. So that's where I'm at right now. Page 1 is complete other than the border, which I'm gonna save for a day when I'm over the confetti. At this point, I'm still not minding it. And so I'm starting into page 2. I think what I'll do this week is I actually will stitch across here so you can see how far page 2 goes and then come down the center. There is the head of the peacock will be in page 2 as well. So that'll be exciting to see that one come along. I really want to make some good progress on this before my start of the Year of the Dragon stitch along. Just to, I don't know if I want to have 2 Teresa Wentzler's going at the same time. So I think when I start my dragon, I'll probably pop this one away for a little bit. So I hope to make some really good progress in the next month on that. Then I have an old finish I want to share with you, and I'll be right back to do that. Okay, so I was watching Flosstube and a new Flosstuber to me came across, and it was called Cross Stitch the Globe, and it's 2 sisters, Allison and Stephanie. You know, I watched number 10 and they must have shared 40 or more patterns between the 2 of them. And one of the ones that, and it's quite an assortment of stitching different styles between the 2 of them. And one of the ones they shared was one of the Told in the Garden patterns. And I have stitched Told in the Garden before, and it kind of had me wanting to stitch another one. And I do believe they have a stitch along that's coming up as well. Now, my mother actually, when I lived at home, stitched a couple Told in the Garden, and at that time Samantha, the Hugo stitcher, and I got into stitching some lavender and lace, Told in the Garden, etc. And so I thought I would pull out one that I did complete. It's called the Amish Quilt Sampler. I don't know, I have the pattern, I'm not sure where it is though, but I do have the piece. It's not framed yet. I did stitch this over the pandemic. It's quite long. There you go. And this is a really fun pattern to stitch. So it is stitched on the 28 count summer khaki lugana, and that was by Zweigart using DMC. Although I didn't know at the time, but you could stitch it with silk as well, and I wish I had, but I didn't at the time. I'll just zoom in here so you can see it, but it was really fun. The colors, and you know, just to have some of the colors moving and keeping it going, it stitched up really quick. I think I stitched this in like 2 weeks or something silly, but it was really fun. As soon as you get sick of, you know, something, you're onto something else. So it kind of kept the project really moving along nicely. Although I really enjoyed stitching this, it's not really my decor style, so I'm not sure what I should do with it. You know, if I was to frame it, would I hang that in my house? I don't know. So it's in my box. It's one of those, you know, projects where I do really like their patterns, and I really, really love the style. They're just so simple, but I also love the meaning behind them. You know, they're all these Amish communities, and the pictures are usually depicting, you know, family and friends gathering to, you know, do something together. I wanted to share a couple pictures, a couple patterns of their pictures of their patterns after watching Cross Stitch the the globe, I was like, oh, maybe I should get a new one of those. So I'll just insert some pictures while I'm talking here. There is Peacemakers 1, which I absolutely love. I love having, you know, the indigenous peoples there traveling in a wagon, and I think, you know, the little braids and stuff look really cute. The other one I love is Bird in Hand, which is just beautiful also. I also love the Country Store, and the Country Store, it's fun because there's so much stuff going on in there, and it reminds me a lot of Little House on the Prairie, their general store. I don't know if any of you used to watch that, but it just, you know, that store is so much more than a store, right? So the Country Store, anyways, it's interesting, maybe one day. And then the Home of a Quilter. I've always loved anything that kind of, you know, even like the Kringle's cross stitch, anything where it kind of breaks down each room from the side. We have a book, I think the book's called A Lighthouse or something like that, and it has, you know, the illustrations are a lighthouse cut completely in half so you could see all the rooms, and I just love the look of that. So this particular pattern reminds me of that, where, you know, you can see into the home, you see the stove and the quilting and the sewing and everything happening in there. So I'm tempted to order one of those. Either, you know, the Peacemakers 1 is probably top of my list, and then it'd be a close tie between the Country Store or Home of a Quilter. But again, I'm not sure what I would do with them after, because the style's just not my decor style. I don't know, something I'm thinking about anyways. So that is it for my cross stitch. If that's all you came here for, thank you so much for joining me today. I do have 2 other things I want to share with you, so if you're able to stick around, I do have an update on my socks that I am knitting, and I also have a Terramino to share with you as well. So moving on to the Terramino. So this is a gift that I got from my cousin for Christmas, and she's a great gift giver, and she just, you know, she knows me so well with just loving crafts and fiber arts, and she's also a lover of crafting and fiber arts, and I went over to her house to start stitching this. So a Terramino is actually traditionally a Japanese New Year's gift given to children, and it's hand sewn balls. It's basically you make a ball with rice husk, and then you mold like tissue paper around it, and then you use a huge amount of string and just wrapping it like you would wrap a ball of yarn over and over and over again, and as you wrap, you make the rice husks a bit more condensed, and it ends up about the size of an apple. And so there's a lady in Vancouver that sells these, and she offers some courses as well in learning how to make it right from the very beginning with the tissue paper and the rice husks, or you can buy the kit already made, and then the next step is to put division lines around as you would like making a Ukrainian Easter egg, and then the third step is actually sewing the design and the colors on there. So these are the 2 colors that I have left from the kit. The other ones, so these are all hand dyed in Japan. My other color is completely gone. And I'll show you my finished one. So this is my Terramino. I'm gonna go in a little bit closer for you guys. It's not really focusing well, is it? You can see the white lines there. So those are the division lines. And based off those lines is where you're going to insert your needle and pull the thread through. Now, when we got the kit, our lines are already made, and we went off of that. And I'm a bit of a, you know, a perfectionist, and it makes me absolutely crazy to know that my lines were not perfect. When you look at the side, look at that. If it was perfect, this center belt would line up perfectly in this round bit, and it does not, which makes me a little crazy. That one's not bad, but it makes me want to make another one. I still have my pin in there. I think I might make this into an ornament for the tree, I'm not sure. So the one that she made actually had 8 points, and mine has 6 points. And I'll reach out, and if she says I'm okay to, I'll insert a picture of hers here. I don't think she's done hers yet, but it is, I would say, over halfway done. And this lady here is offering some courses in February and March as well, online and in person. So I think we'll probably go for the online one towards the end of March, I think it was, because there was a more complicated pattern and it looked really, really beautiful. I'll put a picture of it here for you. If you're interested in doing that, learning any of those techniques, or learning how to make a Terramino ball right from the very beginning, I'll link her in the description box. It was definitely a very, very cool gift to receive. It was fun to do. We spent the morning stitching it together. And something, you know, I like the idea that it's given as a New Year's toy to kids. And so you can make one for every New Year's, you know, that week after Christmas before New Year's where things are a little bit quiet. It'd be a great time to work on one of those, because you can just easily pick it up and, you know, put in a couple strands and kind of see it come to life. And of course, us as stitchers, we love color and working with different colors. And we all know you have a ton of stuff in your stash you could use for that. So I definitely recommend it. It was very, very fun for sure. The last thing I have to share with you today is my trusty toe-up sock that I'm knitting by Tennis Fiber Arts. There's a picture up here. So this is one, you know, for 2024, every month I want to stitch an ornament and I want to stitch a pair of socks. So this is the socks that I have decided to start. I did decide to buy some self-striping yarn because I've never used that before. Here I go again with the not knowing how to pronounce a name, but flute sock maybe. I really don't know. That's the name there. And it's called Perfect Tropical is the color, and I wrote it down. Polana Garnet is the brand. So for this sock, I am using a US size 1 needle, and I am size 1, 2.25 millimeter, and I have completed and blocked the first sock. And so for this sock, I'm actually doing the afterthought heel. So this is the first time I've ever done this, and it was like ridiculously easy, you guys. I wish, here's the other thing with me, I have a very, very high arch in my foot and I have a wide foot. And so unfortunately, while I can wear this and it does fit my foot, I need to have a bit more of a gusset in here, which just kind of, I guess, complicates the stitching a little bit more, but it's not that big of a deal. I just find that the instep is not quite enough for me. I can wear it, but it is snug. Not tight, but snug. And I have this thing with my feet, like my socks, they have to be just right. I can't have that seam over my toe slightly, you know, crooked, or I can't be stepping on that seam. It would make me crazy. So as much as I've loved this, I will probably end up gifting it to somebody, but I will make the other sock. I'm almost done. I'm still kind of attached here. So I'm just starting the ribbing. So I'm doing a half twisted rib cuff on there. And then you can see this is where the afterthought heel will go, is where that little blue string is. I wish that, and maybe there is, if there was a way to knit an afterthought, but like stitch a gusset at the same time, because knitting a heel from the afterthought, using the afterthought method, was insanely easy and quick. And you know, when you do like the German short row, even when you do it correctly, you get a little spacing every time you turn. And no matter how tight you are, you can just see there's a little spacing with the knit stitch there. And I wouldn't say it's a hole, but I like how this ends up being very smooth. There is no, you know, holes in there, right? So definitely enjoyed it. I've ordered another self-striping sock yarn, so I definitely will be doing that again, but probably a different pattern this time. Unless, you know, I think these would fit my kids pretty well. I've got a couple of kids with quite flat feet, so I probably will continue to knit that for them, just not for myself. I think that is everything I have. I'm not really going to share haul today because I think this video is already long enough. I do have a few interesting things that should be arriving in the next week, so my next video I'll go over some haul as well with you guys. Oh, and if you're into knitting, I wanted to mention I came across this really fun Flosstuber, or I guess they call it more podcast in knitting. I'm kind of new to the whole knitting Flosstube thing. Her name is Denise from Earthtonesgirl, I think. And I can't remember where she's from, but she's in the States, and she is so much fun. Her stitching space that she records from is beautiful. You know, she's got all these socks on the wall on these blockers, and I'm just like, what are the socks are those? And look at that blocker, and I wonder what the blocker looks like under the sock. And she just, she's actually really cool. So she's a huge sock knitter, but she has been knitting her colors of her socks to match the covers of the books she has been reading, and I thought this is really fun. So she's got a couple books where, you know, she shows the cover. She listens to Audible often, so she shows the cover of the book, and then she shows the sock, and it just, they're so beautiful together, right? I thought that was a really neat concept. Haven't heard of that before. Makes me want to try the same. And then the other thing is that she, you know, she's a huge advocate for her community, and it just sounds like, you know, she's a great mom and everything's kind of falling into place, and she wanted to get more involved in community, and how could she do that? And, you know, is there a way she could get involved? And all of a sudden, at the same time, someone from her kids, I can't remember if it was the principal, somebody from her kids' school, reached out to her and said, you know, we're looking for someone to teach a class on like knitting and crochet. Would you be interested? And she said, yeah, yes, this is exactly what she was looking for. So really neat to see someone who is so fun and energetic and colorful. She's just a colorful person, you know, bright and bubbly, and she just, I don't know, she seems really fun and cool to, you know, be someone that can, I've got something in my eye, advocate for the kids in the stitching community. And she talked a little bit on her last episode that I watched. I didn't note the number, about the kids' reaction with learning to knit, and she made them all these little project bags to keep their knitting in, and it was really, really neat to see that. So definitely go check her out if you're interested. It's Earthtonesgirl, and I will put it in the description box as well. I think that's all that I had for you. Yeah, okay. Well, we'll talk again soon. Thank you so much for tuning in today. I hope you've enjoyed it, and I hope you guys choose to join us in the Year of the Dragon SAL. It would be really wonderful. Leave your comments below, share your thoughts, and if you know where I can find stickers. Oh, also a huge thank you to, I can't remember who it is now. Somebody messaged about the seaweed, Fox and Rabbit. Came in at the Kitten Stitcher. Was it the Kitten Stitcher? I can't remember. I ordered it right away. I dropped everything and ordered it because it's so hard to get their fabric. And so that is on its way, which I'm very thankful for. I can't remember her name as she left the comment, but thank you very, very much. I can definitely get working on that next project soon. Anyways, thank you. Share your comments. Hopefully I'll get to see you again soon, and I hope that you guys continue to be involved in your stitching community, and I hope you have a dragon pattern in mind. If not, I'm going to close here with some pictures of patterns of dragons that are out there, and their names will be linked below for you guys. Thanks so much. Have a great day. Bye.